In Afghanistan, as if it couldn't get any worse, brace yourself. Off the back of a horror year for women's rights, for human rights, the Taliban have now banned women from being visible in the windows of their homes. I kid you not. The sheer silhouette of the female form, fully cloaked clearly, is now not only considered hugely offensive, but illegal. Now stay with me as I rattle off some of the other laws that apply only to women there. No high school or university, no driving, no singing, no going to the gym, no high heels or bright clothes, no eye contact with strange men. And this doozy introduced just a couple of months ago. No speaking in public. The sound of a woman's voice wiped out. So off the back of another significant nail in the coffin of global women's rights that should enrage feminists the world over, and anyone with even a modicum of human decency, I wait with bated breath for the protests, the boycotts, the hysterical social media posts, the unfiltered outrage aimed at a regime committing heinous acts against innocent people. But alas, it seems our revered and feared Fight for the Rights of Women brigade don't particularly care. Their silence is, as the saying goes, deafening. At least the Israeli and Jewish women murdered on October 7 and those still held captive by terrorist rapists won't feel so alone anymore. It seems these frauds don't just ignore Jewish women, they're happy to ignore any woman where there isn't a hope in hell of blaming Israel for their suffering. And believe you me, they will go to great lengths to try. But even by their really low standards, it would probably be too far a stretch to link the Middle Eastern democratic nation that lets women fly fighter jets to the radical regime that bans their shadows. So unfortunately to the brave women of Afghanistan, Iraq, where they've just lowered the age of sexual consent to 9, Nigeria, where suicide is considered a better option than rape by Islamic extremists, and Iran, where a strand of hair will have you beaten to death. You don't qualify for their support. Because let's be honest, just like the UN and all the other fake bodies like it, these faux feminists don't actually care about women, not even a little bit. Their agenda is not noble, but nasty. Any woman left behind hurts every woman they pretend to support. As I say, you stand for all of us or for none of us. And right now it's the latter, and that is a disgrace. It's not only women they hate, by the way. These so-called activists are passionate about equality when it comes to ignoring all death and destruction worldwide, if, of course, the perpetrators of it don't fit into their narrative. These images coming out of Syria are gut-wrenching, sickening. 3 million Alawites facing extermination. They are lynching them, torturing them, massacring them. I mean, you might just call it a genocide. Again, I look to the streets of Amsterdam, London, Melbourne, for the protests. You know, the ones we've seen all year aimed at Israel on behalf of, well, Hamas, if we're being honest, they might pretend otherwise. You know, the mass outrage. The human rights activists who are willing to do anything to bring attention to the atrocities being committed. There they are. They must be busy. Probably planning their next event aimed at attacking Israel. The country itself, the victim of a mass murder just over a year ago by those same terrorists whose flags they wave, that is trying to rescue its hostages and end the threat of endless massacres promised upon them by, you guessed it, Hamas. Makes perfect sense. These frauds aren't even clever enough to disguise their own idiocy, let alone that of those who blindly follow them and accept their stupid lies. When they march for all human beings who suffer, I'll take note. Until then, no thanks.